I think 2 is the most I've ever been. I think it's my first triple overtime game. It was a wild game, as you saw on TV, but no, I can't think of one longer than that.
Is there any discouragement in the fact that you might have had a year's worth of
good things happen for your team and still not be able to win the game?
A year's worth?
I mean, you had things happen in that
game that will not happen again maybe the rest of the year, scoring 5 points in 7 seconds, hitting a half-court shot at the buzzer. Those kind of types of plays are fairly rare just all throughout college basketball, and to have those things happen and then not be able to still win the game, is there any discouragement from that?
No, I'm not discouraged one bit. I mean, in fact, we've hit 2 buzzer beaters now in 5 games. Maybe we're the cardiac kids, I don't know. But I'm more disappointed in our second half defensive efforts, and not just in this game. It's over these course of these 4 games. We talk about the things that you can control. I had an English professor one time say that luck is the residue of hard work, and we work on special situations, we work on different things. Of course, we've even worked on some half-court shots. The fact that Braden's went in, not a high percentage shot, but we'll take it. Don't want to be in those situations all the time, but it does says a lot. We work on come from behind games. Like, those are things that we do spend time on, and so for the guys to come out and execute that was a good sign. We just don't want to be in that position if we don't have to.
What ended up being the explanation for, at least at the time, Isaiah Barnes fouling out with 6 fouls?
So the scoreboard had him for 5 fouls, and it was an error on the scoreboard, which then goes into the game cast or the feed that goes onto ESPN and that type of stuff.
But it was also that way on their official stats, though, too.
Well, with each foul, we went to their official scores table, and they didn't say that he had 5. They said he had 4. I don't know how that was coming across online, but there was a mistake up on the board that for some reason, they just didn't fix right away, or not for a while.
Does a game like that kind of illustrate the depth you've been able to kind of put into this roster a little bit, and kind of showcase some of the different guys you're able to kind of bring in when you need a different kind of juice?
Well, that's what I told our team afterwards. And, after any loss, especially a close loss, where you look back on things that you might want to do differently, and we all have it, and we all should. A positive is that we had some guys have not good days, offensively, defensively, and others were able to step up. I'm really happy for Justin Amati. He tied a career high, and certainly had his best moment here in a Tulsa uniform. He ended up playing the 5 position, which he's rarely done in practice. We just felt like that ended up being the best matchup. We had a little bit of foul trouble, but even without the foul trouble, he was just the better matchup on that day. And so we were able to show some versatility in that regard. So that's a positive. But we got contributions from a number of guys. We played a number of guys in that game. We played 11 guys at different moments, at different times. So we want to grow through winning, of course, but there were some moments that we were able to take away from that one.
Is whatever 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in now, is that enough game tape to get a good scouting report on Little Rock? And if so, kind of what stands out about them?
Yeah, there's some guys that have personnel edits that you can go back from even at their previous schools. They've got a lot of history or a lot of just experience. This is a big team. Like, they're going to come in here and you're like, wow, this team's got a lot of size, and it's at every position. They're also a team that will play defensively a number of different ways, from man to zone to different ball screen coverages to switching. They'll put it in the post. They've got some very good three-point shooters. Like, this is a good team. They just went to one of our league members and won by double figures on the road. They're trying to figure some things out with just getting some guys in the mix. But this is a really talented team coming in here. We've got a number of things that we've got to get better at in these next few days in preparation.
You've mentioned that you were disappointed with the second half defense. Through tape and and watching, have you been able to put your finger on it, on what you think it might actually be, and how do you combat that moving forward with what you're doing in practice?
So we discussed it. We've been in staff meetings all morning, and it's drastic. We're 42% better in the first half than we are the second half. It's a drastic number, like 0.86 points per possession defensively in the first half and 1.22 in the second. And naturally, in the first half defensively in college basketball, you have your whole bench right there. You've got a camaraderie. You feel like you have numbers on your side. In the second half, it's just your 5 guys down in front of their bench. And we've talked about even doing an exercise of practice a little bit differently, of just having them down there and all of us be down on the other end, and having them be the only ones talking defensively. There's an intensity that needs to remain strong in the second half that we've got to get better at. We've talked about, from a strategy or schematic standpoint, are there a couple tweaks and different things, but the fact of the matter is we've got to guard the ball better, no matter if you're in a zone or a man or switching or not. You have to be able to confront the ball and contain the ball. We've got to do that better in the second half. We're just not doing it as well. And going to address that even further with the team and ask them, why is this happening to us? And then second, the rebounding is, we're giving up more offensive rebounds in the second half. And so, we're looking at just structuring some of our drills and some of our competition segments a little bit different to emphasize that, but we've got to get better at it.
How close is Garcia to being ready to play?
It depends on the day. He's pushing in some areas to get himself back. Has done some live play in the half court, non-contact in the full court. It's there's days of improvement and there's days of recovery for him too, because he's trying to push himself in a manner that he's not been pushed in a while. I cannot put a time on it though.
But you mentioned Amadi. Just comment some more about his impact on your inside game. Obviously, I don't think you're expecting him to have 24 points the other day, but talk a little bit about his impact on how y'all do it.
Well, in the recruiting process, and of course, he missed last year with an injury, and so we knew that there was going to still be recovery from that physically and mentally, but we saw in his previous 3 years of playing a guy that was active on the glass, a guy that could put pressure on the basket with rim runs, either for catch and scores or lobs, and he had an activity level about him that could give us some versatility defensively. He's been spotty just getting back into the swing of things with full contact, and he's had a couple bumps and bruises along the way that's taken him out of practice and some of the playing time, but really happy for him. He played big minutes, way more than he's played before in a long, long time. That should only add confidence to him, and of course confidence in his teammates and him as well, and the things that we can do. Our thoughts for him is, can we have a package where he's really more of a power forward? Is there some packages with him at the center? But he gives us an added versatility there that we haven't had.
TJ?
How do you handle guys, specifically like a Keaston, when he's hot? Do you just let him go, let him do what he does, or you have to kind of reel him in? Like the reason I'm asking is, when they're struggling, is there a counter way that you have to coach those guys?
So we always talk about just controlling what you can control, and sometimes the ball going in and out of the basket, like I remind guys all the time, the best to ever do it, Steph Curry, still fails more than he's successful when it comes to percentages. So some of it's a mentality when a guy is struggling, but when a guy's got it going, I just keep encouraging him to take shots that they can make. Sometimes there's that term heat check. I've seen guys also take themselves out of rhythm by taking really, really challenging shots and then wonder, why isn't that one going in? Well, that one's almost impossible. So Keaston's one of those guys that he's a neon green light shooter for us. We all know which ones he's best at, and we want to keep hunting those. Of course, for us, when we get stops and we can get in transition, we want to find him. We want to find him on the arc, either in the corners or pitchbacks and so forth. We've got to keep finding different ways because people are keying on him. We got to find ways to free him and get him open.
Bruce?
Coach, you mentioned, defensive problems in the second half and even into overtime. How much does foul trouble affect that, and how do you teach a guy who's got 4 fouls to play defense without fouling? Is that a difficult thing to do? And it's a mindset that, hey, I don't want to foul out of this game, so maybe I'm not as aggressive. How do you walk that line?
Well, some of that we tried to manage. Like when we were playing the come from behind game and we were fouling, we were bringing like Isaiah Barnes out of the game, and but at the same time, you got to make a play and you put your best athletes in certain cases, because if you do get a stop, you want to have a good offensive team that can go down there. But number one, especially in that game, we allowed them to get to the bonus early, and we had some aggressive fouls. We also had some foolish fouls at 28 feet, trying to pressure the basketball and trying to make a play, trying to steal it. But we've got to get more disciplined at that. And then when a guy has foul trouble, it's really how you start too. It's trusting your training of being physical but without your hands, showing your palms, being physical with your chest and your hips and your legs, and just showing the officials like, hey, I'm in good position here. And we've got to become more disciplined in those areas. But this was a free throw shooting game. If we shot free throws a little bit better, I think we win. I'm sure they're saying the same thing, but both teams got to the free throw line a lot in that one.
And then I know you're not looking past Wednesday, but then Saturday you have Loyola Chicago on the road, a team you beat last year, and then a team that ended up having a really good season, and then an interesting tournament the following week. So you're going to be on the road starting on Saturday for the second real time to go on the road, and this is going to be 3 straight games.
Yeah, this is a challenging stretch. This is a great opportunity for us. If you count the Missouri State game, this is 4 out of 5 away from home. Certainly makes this Wednesday very, very important, and we hope everybody will come out and join us like they did in the last Wednesday and support this team. But then you get a chance to go on the road, and it mimics some of our travel in league where we stay out for a little bit. Mimics also a back-to-back, like in a neutral site, like conference tournament. These are all things that we were hoping to piece together in our schedule. Didn't know entirely it all kind of fall at this same 2-week period, but this is the way that it occurred. But these are the things that guys remember too. Going on the road, spending time together, being in the hotels, doing different types of meals and things like that, coming together, and it also gives us a chance to spend even more time with our guys too.
Anything else, guys? No, Jeremy, got one?
This is just a general question. Do you feel as if, because I know you've put more emphasis on your three-point shooting, and everyone has. I think the record for most three-point attempts was like 18, 19. It was like 39% of shots were threes. Do you think that we're trending in a direction where we're going to eclipse 40% this year from what you've seen so far?
We don't put a goal number on it. We really talk about, we grade shot quality, and shot quality comes not just in what the shot is, but who's taking the shot. We've got a number of guys, and we tried to assemble this. If you look over the last 10 years of college basketball, offensive efficiency is so much higher. It's true in the NBA. Don't have those metrics at the high school level, but the three-point shot and a number of the different things, getting to the free throw line, getting to the box, it's possible. I think as we continue forward, we're still trying to find different ways to get shots in the box. And so being over 40%, I'm not saying that that's a goal, but we do think that we should be in the 30s. And because we've got a number of guys that we think are good at it. We're not shooting a great percentage. We've been very inconsistent right now as a team. But, of course, a Keaston Willis, a Braden Carrington, a Tyshawn Archie. Matt Reed has been a good three-point shooter. He's just not gotten in that rhythm yet. We've got some guys that can make it. We just want to keep finding ways to get the best quality shot we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, everybody.
What does neon green, what do you mean by that? Is that just like a brighter version of green? So
Yes.
full-on green line?
That's right.